What's up, guys? We are back with another Bandai Tamashii Nation's SH MonsterArts review, taking a look at another Godzilla from King of the Monsters from 2019. So we have got the Burning Godzilla variant this time around. And, I mean, come on, Burning Godzilla is always a cool thing when it pops up in a movie. I'm always there for it. I'm always excited. And this was arguably one of the coolest parts of the movie in general. So I'm definitely interested in taking a look at this guy. We've got him here in a oversized kind of format box. No window on this thing this time around, though. You've got a shot of the big G on the front with his name down there. Product shot on this side, just a nameplate on this side. And then the back of the box has got a bunch of product shots showcasing what he's doing, all of his movement capability, and just his orange glowy goodness. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here he is out of the package. We've got our SH MonsterArts Burning Godzilla. So this guy was provided for the purposes of review by Bluefin, so special thanks to those guys for kicking him over here. And it's another Godzilla figure that is translucent, and this time is also metallic. So I think we've got something pretty cool going on here. I mean, just looking at him, the more I look at this figure, the more I see different types of paint detail, which frankly I didn't notice when I first started looking at him. There's a lot to see when it comes to this figure. Now, as far as moving him around, he is familiar territory if you've already messed with one of these. So if you know what's going on with that event exclusive, just for example, because that's the one I've taken a look at previously, this is very much standard fare. So we've got a head that can rotate around in the neck socket up there. You've got a articulated jaw, slightly articulated, not like crazy articulated, but it does move. You've got like the plate system here as well. So the head, we're looking straight on right there. When you've got him, he can look about that far over, and then if you move these plates further, you can get him to kick his head like almost 90 degrees. So he's basically looking all the way to his left, your right now. If you move these plates, it helps to get him to be able to move a little bit better. It also helps to kind of hide some of these gaps as well, just like that. The torso is very similar to that because you've got this plate here that's kind of blocking him and locking him in place. You can move it around to kind of get him to twist side to side, and then of course forward and backward a little bit as far as kind of like a lunging motion. The arms are pretty well articulated everywhere except the shoulder, so they really only go so far. They kind of go outward and inward there a little bit, and then you can rotate up in that shoulder joint. The elbow is what's really nice here though, so it's fully extended there. And then you've got basically full 90 degrees. I know 90 is kind of the norm, but when it comes to a Godzilla figure, being able to do this is really nice. You've got forearm rotation, and then you've got standard kind of Bandai Tamashii Nation's ball hinges at those wrists. The legs on this guy are surprisingly well articulated though, especially when you see them at first glance and you say, well, this is a big chunk of plastic that's sort of shoved into this cavity here, but it moves out really well. So it does kick in and out quite nicely as far as like flaring out to the side, and then you can rotate in that socket as well. The knees, let's fully extend the leg, so that's fully extended, and then you can kick it back about that far, and then you've got a little bit of swivel in certain places as far as like the plates go. It's not true swivel, but it does allow you to give it a little bit of a kick, and then there's a ball peg going down as far as the foot, so he goes backwards, forwards. You can rotate slightly, but it's not going to allow you to fully rotate, and then a slight rocker in there as well. And then you've got your tail. So this plate right here is kind of the one that you want to use to hide the gap. So this one also kind of locks him in place too. So you can move this plate around to kind of open him up a little bit, and then you can get the tail to swing out about that far. If you're looking at it from the back, about that far. And then it does go up about that far as well. You're going to have to support him in some poses because there's a lot of plastic back here. But then all of these plates do help you to kind of align him a little bit better. And then, like I said, this plate right here, you can kind of move it around to hide some of the gapping that's in there, because it's just a big ball peg that goes from the torso into the tail on this big guy to actually make him connect to the tail. So he does move pretty well. I mean, it's still a Godzilla. It's a big, bulky, ancient lizard creature, but he does move pretty nicely, and I've not really had any issues posing this guy around. He does exactly what you think a big Godzilla is going to do. Now, articulation aside, this is what you see is what you get kind of figure. There's nothing else involved with this box. It's just the figure inside, because as far as scene-specific stuff goes, there's not a whole lot they're really going to give him. I don't think there's a way to truly give him that kind of concussive blast that he uses in the movie, because, I mean, I don't know, it would be massive as far as plastic goes. It'd probably be impractical as well. So you really just get a Godzilla figure that is
absolutely covered in paint. And I can't really stress that enough. This thing is like to the gills when it comes to paint detail. So that's essentially what it is. It is a very nicely sculpted MonsterArts Godzilla that is covered in various shades of yellows, oranges, reds, kind of a rusty brown color, and then some really, really deep reds, but there's also a lot of metallic paint going on. So like on the tail, for instance, all of this down here is very chromatic and metallic, and the sculpt really helps bring out the shine on this figure. I mean, when I've got my really bright LED lights hitting it, he just sort of lights up. And he does have a lot of translucent plastic on him, but it's also, well, he's mostly translucent plastic really, but he's covered in paint. So it brings out more of that detail that when I reviewed that event exclusive, I knew was there, but had a hard time seeing at times because the whole point of that figure was the specific translucent plastic aspect of it. This guy is all about the paint. So we've got a really cool sculpt. I mean, you've got all these jagged spines that come down. You've got this monstrous tail that you can pose and kind of flare out and get him to stand up with and everything. But it's covered in all of this kind of like, almost like a lava pattern is really what it looks like. Like, you know, kind of like oranges, yellows, reds. Everything is just sort of all these bright, vibrant colors. Even the reds down here on the feet are really, really intense and saturated and vibrant. And he just looks cool. I mean, how could you not like, essentially like a volcanic Godzilla? That's what it really comes down to, is the sculpt on this figure is tremendous. He is covered in scaly detail from every aspect. Every inch from the tip of his nose to the tip of his tail is covered in some sort of scaly little detail, and then all of that is accentuated by all this paintwork, layer upon layer of colors, to make him really stand out and just be this kind of bright, fiery beacon of a figure. So he looks pretty fantastic. I'm very much happy with everything about it, and like I said, once I got him out of the box, I realized just how much paint was on him, how many different layers are involved, and things that I didn't notice at first, like I'm still seeing now, from all the metallic accents to the various layers of reds and browns and everything in there that I didn't pick up on at first, that are very much plain as day the more I stare at this thing. Now, of course, we can do a comparison from our SH MonsterArts to the NECA Burning Godzilla. So we've got this guy here, and these are two very, very similar but very different figures at the same time. Of course, they are wildly different in price point as well, so it's not something that's fair to do a direct comparison on. But as far as what you can get, I mean, I think that they are both pretty solid entries when it comes to recreating this design. There's just an obvious difference when it comes to paint applications. They are both very, very similar when it comes to sculpt. Tons of detail loaded on both. The MonsterArts figure does, of course, have more articulation. It's got more joints in general than the NECA figure does, but it's really all about the paint applications. They're both translucent plastic figures. This guy is just covered in a lot more paint. So, you know, you've got a couple different options when it comes to going for this particular version of Godzilla. I think depending on what you're interested in as far as your collection and, of course, price point goes, would be the deciding factor on which one to get. But it's pretty obvious that the MonsterArts figure just absolutely trounces the NECA one when it comes to paint, but they are still very similar. I mean, you can definitely see a lot of similarities from at least the neck down, because the heads are, of course, quite different in approach. But otherwise, I'd say you've got a pretty solid comparison between our NECA versus our MonsterArts. So at the end of the day, this is a pretty fun figure. Again, it's a version of a figure that I've already taken a look at, but at the same time, it's so different from that event exclusive, and frankly, they look amazing next to each other because of just how similar, but how starkly different they are from one another in approach. This guy is, again, covered in paint. The tremendous level of paint detail on this guy is the selling factor for me. It does look amazing once you really get an idea for exactly how many different layers and different types of paints and different colors are involved to make the transparent plastic just kind of stand out while also being incredibly metallic, especially on that tail. The tail just really lights up when it comes to the metallic nature that they went for here. And it's just a cool figure. If you like Godzilla, if you're like me and you like Burning Godzilla in particular, this is definitely a MonsterArts to take a look at. It moves well, it has a great sculpt, and again, it has the selling factor of a wild paint job. So that's going to do it for this look at the SH MonsterArts Burning Godzilla. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.